So, introductions. I haven't really done any Let's Play, so I don't have an introduction. I don't need to come up with an introduction. Do you have an introduction?
Uh, I guess the usual stuff. Hello everyone, this is Proto here, and welcome to something a little bit different.
Hello, Internet. My name is Goat. Just a quick rundown what we're going to be doing here. Just a podcast type thing to hopefully describe our thoughts and feelings on games we've just played after we've played them, because, you know, you're not always in your top form thinking clearly, making really logical points when you're screaming at indie games.
Yeah, and I do a lot of screaming at Freedom Planet.
I mean, you started out really good. I'm not going to lie. You made a lot of great points in the first couple episodes, but God, episodes 4 and 5 were just, oh, this is dumb. This is so dumb. I'm sorry, but it's just dumb. It's you.
Yeah. Oh, I get frustrated. The noises I make when games start to really grind my gears. There's something to be heard for sure.
I mean, I really don't blame you.
Oh yeah.
I know I'm not the target demographic. I'm not a Sonic fan by a long stretch, but I really don't understand how Freedom Planet is as praised and as popular as it is.
Me neither. Because I'm gonna put this out here right now, this early. If this stuff were done in a Sonic game by Sonic Team, if they did basically every single thing that Freedom Planet did, Sega would be bashed to hell and back. It would be proclaimed as one of the worst classic Sonic games ever. Even worse than Sonic 4 Episode 1.
See, and for good reason. But I mean, that just begs the question then, if they did all this stuff to try and, like, differentiate themselves from Sonic, to make themselves their own thing, why did they sell it so hard on Sonic nostalgia?
Because that they know that Sonic games sell. There's plenty of Sonic fans. Even if the games are bad, they're gonna sell relatively well because it's such a popular game series. So, what better way to do to make a successful game in terms of sales than to ride off the ass of another popular game series?
Yeah, ride a popular game series and then do everything completely against what that series is and stands for.
My number 9.
That makes sense. I don't know. I feel like Mighty Number 9 actually kind of gets a bum rap too. No, it deserves all the hate it gets, but it deserves its hate for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like,
and I will say this,
you know, that
as bad as Freedom Planet is, it's nowhere near my number 9 levels of bad.
Oh yeah, it's at least a functional game. Like, I'm actually half looking forward to Freedom. I'm half looking forward to Freedom Planet 2, because, like, there were good building blocks in Freedom Planet. There was a good idea for a game. It couldn't decide if it wanted to be its own thing or if it wanted to be Sonic Episode 5.
You're looking forward to Freedom Planet 2 because you're not playing it. Fuck you, I gotta do all that work.
It's gonna be more fun than the first one, at least admit that.
I hope so. I haven't played the demo, but, you know, I don't have high hopes.
It's gotta be. Like,
I don't know, I saw gameplay footage, and there was one with the, like, panda girl that has that, like, you know, really annoying mini-boss fight with all the ice, and she has a spear whose only hitbox is the tip of the spear, and that's already a no-no, especially if you're doing a beat-em-up styled game.
God, the combat was one of the worst parts in Freedom Planet.
It is absolutely one of the worst parts.
I don't have anything against it, like, conceptually, a Sonic game with more fighting elements. The problem is that it absolutely destroys the flow of the game. So much of what's wrong with the game is just that there's no flow to it.
That's actually one problem that people had with Sonic Heroes, was that enemies had health bars, and, you know, if you were the lowest level in Sonic Heroes, you had to, you know, do multiple attacks to kill enemies, especially the big ones.
Yeah, that's why I always only played as the power people. You want to know like, kind of a shameful secret. I really love Sonic Heroes.
Oh,
But
I
that's
love it
just
too.
because it's the first Sonic game I think I ever played.
Oh, I love Sonic Heroes
Second
just
Sonic
because
game, I
I
had
love
Sonic.
I love the areas in it. It's not a terrible Sonic game, it just has a lot more problems.
No, when my family got our Xbox, that was the only game we had on it for a long time. So me and my
You
brother
got
were
it
just
on
like,
the
"Oh my
Xbox?
god, it's a new console!" We'd only ever had Nintendo things up till that point. So, like, all we could do was play the first 3 levels of Sonic Heroes over and over and over again because we were so shit at it.
Yeah, yeah, Sonic
That
Heroes
got off
wasn't
topic real
terrible.
quick.
Yeah, well, a lot of the complaints that you can give to, like, some of the, not as good Sonic games will fit in place for Freedom Planet. Freedom Planet just seems to be a magnet for a lot of the things that other Sonic games didn't really do so well.
And the difference is, the reason it's okay in the Sonic games is all of the Sonic games are, like, trying really hard to push it and be innovative. I feel like a lot of the worst thing Sonic's done is just when they're using, like, new software and new technology that they're not familiar with, that they don't have programmers that know how to use it. Freedom Planet was, for all intents and purposes, trying to be a classic Sonic game, and that much is obvious. So there really isn't room for mistakes there. We know what makes a classic Sonic game good. It's short levels, rewards for exploration. Boss fights in the old Sonic games never really did anything, and the boss fights drug on and on and on in Freedom Planet.
Exactly. That is, to go on a sort of a little bit of a rant here, Freedom Planet's bosses are the complete antithesis of a Sonic game. Like, Freedom Planet was marketed as and was made to be a spiritual successor to Sonic the Hedgehog. Its entire design is based around going fast, except for the boss fights. The boss fights are purely about waiting for the right time to strike. You wait, and then attack the enemy. And if you don't do that, if you try and bum rush it, you're just going to die. A lot. As you could see, well, maybe not see in the playthrough, because Goat edited most of the deaths out. But,
Oh, you didn't die that often.
true, but if it's your first playthrough, you're gonna die a lot. You treat this game like a Sonic game in the boss fights, you're just not gonna have a good time. And even if no matter what you do, the bosses are going to take so long to do. Honestly, it's weird too, because Sonic bosses, especially in Sonic 2, you could wait in those bosses to find the best spots to hit them, but you could also take them down fast without many problems. Like, one great example is the Metropolis Zone boss fight in Sonic 2. That boss fight is one of the harder fights in the game because, if you bum rush that, you're most likely going to get hit. And there's, like, a few extra sweet spots that you can hit without, like, taking damage. But most of the time, if you try and hit Eggman in that fight, you're gonna get hit by his, like, little balls, and you're gonna have to use invincibility frames. Except, if you wait and jump over him a few times, he will make the balls, like, float horizontally, and you will have enough time and space to hit him safely. But that's the thing. You can wait and hit him the safe way, or you can...
Or you can just go in guns blazing and figure out the fun way.
Exactly. And heck, if you do go in guns blazing, you can learn the sweet spots and hit them without taking too much damage, making the boss fight go even faster. And another boss that Sonic 2 does that good with is the final boss, which, yeah, it's really risky to do that with 0 rings, and the boss is pretty hard otherwise, but you can do a lot of different ways to attack him. You can jump at him and risk getting hit by the spiky hands, but you can also wait until he lands down. Whenever he lands, he'll lean forward a bit. If you're spin dashing, you can damage him while he's leaning down. and if he's about to throw his hands at you, he'll lean down twice, so you can hit him a second time and dash away so you won't get hit by the hands.
Well, thank you, Prima Strategy Guides.
Yeah, you're welcome. That'll be $5.
Oh, God, who even buys strategy guides these days? A really minor complaint, like in light of everything else, the one thing that bothered me about the bosses the most was probably just the design of them. Like, almost every boss that wasn't, like, a single sprite the size of Violet was a combination of multiple moving parts. I guess kind of fittingly, it reminded me of the Genesis, just because I can think of more video games that did that Vector Man style animation on the Genesis and any other console. Yeah. Even the Castlevania Bloodlines.
It was really neat for the time.
And that's the thing. Like, even if you're trying to evoke the feelings of the Genesis, like, we just don't live in the Genesis era anymore. Do you think the people who programmed those bosses for the Genesis would have wanted them to look like that if they had any other option?
Doubtful. But also, even then, the Genesis games didn't use them that much. Sure, Vector Man was a pile of balls for a body, but, you know, not every single other thing in the entire game was a pile of balls for a body.
That was kind of Vector Man's whole selling point. Yeah, most bosses knew to use them sparingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gunstar Heroes, I already said this to you a lot, but one of the bosses is straight up Seven Force from Gunstar Heroes. Like,
you kept telling me that, and I think I put a picture in there because you kept insisting I put a picture in there, but I honestly don't see it. Like, I get the point you're getting at, but I don't know.
You would have gotten that feeling a bit more if you would maybe if you like played Gunstar Heroes and Freedom Planet somewhat recently, because I did play Gunstar Heroes recently. Actually, before both playthroughs, I did a Freedom Planet. My first time playing it, and the playthrough.
I just feel like Seven Force was a little more creative, but Seven Force
was more creative.
Seven Force was also a billion times more annoying because it went on 10 times as long.
Yeah, especially the harder difficulties you go, you had to fight all the forms.
All 7 forms. Yeah, so that's one little token credit we'll give to Freedom Planet. It wasn't quite as long as it could have been.
Seven Force. It wouldn't surprise me. My God, the bosses are the absolute worst parts of the game, whether design-wise, length-wise, or just how fucking hard they are.
Yeah, a lot of them. Like, even on your easier setting when you were regenerating health, like, how
Which
many
I
of them...
only realized late into the playthrough.
I actually rewatched the entire Let's Play before we started recording this. You mentioned in the beginning, you made like a very strong point, like, oh, I'm going to put it on easy because I don't care that much. I'm not going to torture myself. And then you were surprised 2 episodes later when it was on easy.
Yeah, there are still things on easy mode that will drain 2/3 of your health.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous.
And it's not even just, like, limited to bosses, either. Like, even some, like, stronger mooks. Like, there was one enemy in the Battle Glacier that's this, like, I guess this, like, ball thing that's rotating back and forth on, like, a line, and it shoots, like, miniguns up at you, like the snake does. Shoots miniguns. No, it shoots bullets at you like the snake does, and that thing hit me once and did over half of my health and damage. It's so annoying.
God, like, all I'm imagining now is a gun that shoots smaller guns that shoot really tiny bullets.
I mean, you can technically do that in Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime. You can throw machine guns from your cannons.
Yeah, I guess. But they don't fire when you fire them out of the cannons. They only fire if you set them up in the little machine gun ports.
Yeah, but you can put bullets into the cannons first and then the machine gun, so it looks like the machine gun is shooting the bullet at the cannon in the air.
I guess. One of us is going to have to do Rocket Slime eventually.
I am so down for that. We could do a race, maybe.
No.
You're right, I would totally destroy you.
You absolutely would.
I've played that game so many times. It's so good. But we're getting a bit off topic. We're always going off topic into better games.
Well, because I think maybe we put ourselves at a disadvantage because we've been talking about doing this podcast for like a couple of weeks now. So we've probably discussed all we want to discuss, and we just don't remember what we need to talk about still for the viewers.
Right. But it's Freedom Planet just doesn't feel right, even like as a Sonic game.
Oh no.
The main parts that really frustrate me is the level length. Every single level except for like the final level took over 10 minutes to complete. Well, and except for the first level, because that was the first, but that one was still like 8 minutes. And the final level was split into 4 acts, which, why wasn't the rest of the game like that?
Yeah, it would have made the pacing a lot easier. Because even if you have the exact same level length, if you make it feel like it's coming in more bite-sized pieces, it's going to feel like it's going by faster.
That's no joke, the exact same point of contention for why I like the PS2 and Wii versions of Sonic Unleashed better than the HD versions. It's purely because all of the Werehog stages are separated into acts. They're the same exact length in total, but since they're separated into acts in Sonic Unleashed on the Wii and PS2, it's a lot easier to deal with.
I own 4 copies of Sonic Unleashed for the Wii.
What the fuck?
Well, the first one I bought just because, like, I thought, oh, I should own every Sonic game. Like whatever, it's cheap, it's in a discount bin. And then the second one I bought because it was like 5 games for $5, and I could only find 4 games at the pawn shop, so I just picked up another copy of Sonic Unleashed. And then I picked up a third one because I guess I just forgot that I already owned 2 copies, and then the fourth one was a gift.
Want to give me one? My PS2 copy isn't really working so well anymore.
Absolutely. Do you want a copy of Power Punch 2 for the NES? Because I have 4 of those for about the same reason.
Only if I had an NES. I don't have one. Guess you're gonna have to keep hold of those Power Punches.
It was supposed to be a sequel to Punch-Out. It's
really?
it's Mike Tyson punching aliens, except like it's not Mike Tyson because they couldn't afford the license.
Oh my god. Well, that's a game that you should do a playthrough of.
Yeah, once I get a box to record console games, definitely.
Yeah, either that or emulators.
But if I own the real thing, I want to do the real thing.
Motherfucker, I own 5 copies of Sonic Adventure, and I still played an emulator of it.
Well, because you couldn't record the Dreamcast version.
Well, true, but...
I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna get the box either way. I may as well...
Yeah. Can we share it? I don't have the money for that.
You know what? I could actually see that working. If we just, like...
Yeah. I would need, like, a laptop,
We're getting into shop talk.
Yeah. That's not Freedom Planet talk. We're actually talking about good things again.
We'll edit this out. Well, Power Punch 2 is not a good thing. We'll edit this out. I don't want to get too harsh on them, because they are an indie company, and they did a lot better than a lot of people in their position would do. But something that...
And a lot of people in better positions.
Yeah. It's something that bothered me as I was staring at the same 3 seconds on loop over and over and over and over is a lot of the game really lacks polish.
Yeah.
But what makes it worse is that there's some parts of the game that look really, really nice, which just makes the parts that look like rushed and shat out even worse.
Like,
I know
one thing I can praise is I love the backgrounds. They are really beautiful.
For the most part, they deteriorate as the game goes on. And that was the most bizarre part to me. I get the feeling that they made the ending of the game first, which is a good idea because you want your ending to be like the strongest part of your game. But then their animating skills and their drawing skills improved so much between them drawing the final level and then drawing the first level that the final level looks like shit compared to the rest of the game.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I actually don't remember much of the backgrounds of like the later parts of the game, but I do remember really enjoying the backgrounds and the areas, the moreover the whole quality of all the art in the early areas of the game. I still do think like Dragon Forest or whatever, that place is still pretty good looking.
You know, all those like sweeping nature shots in the background of the first couple levels are just gorgeous.
Yeah, first level's basically the best part of the game. Oh.
The animation on a whole, I'll also say, is really nice, but again, maybe it's just me because I had to stare at the sprites for so long. But the lip flaps look so bad.
Oh yeah!
Every time a character talks, their entire head just flails back and forth for a couple seconds.
It's like an episode of Red versus Blue. You mute the audio and just watch the heads bob.
I never got into Red versus Blue. Oh. I had a friend who was just like way too creepily into it, and that put me off it because they were just like, "Oh my god, you need to watch Red versus Blue. It's the best thing on the internet." Like, well, now that you said that, it's never going to live up to the hype.
Yeah, that's bringing it back to Freedom Planet here. I heard so many people praising this as a great Sonic fan game, as a spiritual successor, and is classic Sonic done right. So much hype generated for the game.
Oh my god, it was like a bad furry RP that they didn't know how to translate into a visual medium.
I was almost tempted to like, because you pointed this out on Discord. You pointed this out that one of the like potential thumbnails that YouTube put up for one of the episodes was your text overlay of furry drama. I was almost tempted to switch your actual thumbnail for that, but I didn't, because I do like your thumbnails. You do really, really good thumbnails.
They're hit and miss.
I like them. Yeah, sometimes you get really damn cinematic with them. Like, I think it was that very same episode with furry drama that you had a really good thumbnail for.
The furry drama was episode 2, wasn't it? That was the one with Snake Man.
No. Furry drama was episode 3. Snake Man. The Snake Man edit was great. I loved it.
Yeah, episode 3 was the one where we got to see Violet get tortured in the end. You skipped over it.
I skipped over it like a dumbass. And that's the thing. I think subconsciously I went to play story mode just to see that scene, and then I skipped over it like an idiot.
I mean, again, I probably don't have the right to judge, because I've never played it. My only experience with this is vicariously through you. So maybe the story makes more sense if you actually watch the story.
It doesn't make sense at all. The cutscenes are long and they don't explain anything. Because that's another problem with this game. It treats these characters like pre-existing characters, and you know nothing about them, but everyone knows about each other. Because this is something you won't learn even if you play through all of Lilac's story, and you won't even really get this big clue even if you play through Carol's story, which she has an exclusive stage. But
they were like
Carol
ninja gang leaders, right?
Exactly. They were like big members of this really bad like ninja gang with Gambit or Spade or whatever leading them, and they decided to like go off like from the group, from the gang, and that's why Spade's so antagonistic toward them. But that's also why Carol and her run of her story goes to the hideout and tries to get his help and fights him and his 99 ninjas. That fight, I would have died so many times on that fight, I'm telling you. That is the most annoying boss fight in the entire game. And there are some really annoying boss fights.
I'll have to take your word for it.
Yes. Don't play it.
Wasn't planning on it.
Good.
Like maybe for a 10,000 subscriber special or something, we'll go back and force you to play the other stories.
Fuck me. Oh, do I have to?
Well, if we get 10,000 subscribers, I mean, what are the odds of that? Yeah, but that's a promise, everybody, in the future. If anybody actually cares about us 10 months from now.
10 months, alright. Alright, I'll do it, but that reminds me, speaking of characters, did you know that there were going to be 2 other characters added later on into the game as, playable characters? And this was part of a stretch goal?
It was like Spade and the cop girl,
Spade
right?
and Torque.
Torque,
And guess what? Torque was completely
I have such
finished.
a hard time caring
all
about
of his
Torque.
gameplay and stuff. Same. He's not interesting in the slightest.
But he's like the entire driving force of the plot.
Exactly. The most interesting character is Brevin because, well, you can't exactly have everyone know about, this big bad evil guy that showed up out of nowhere. So you can't, write a story and just have him suddenly be there.
So they actually had to introduce Brevin to the characters, which let the audience get to know him, unlike everybody else.
And though I skipped over this in the, I skipped over the intro of the game, his very first scene is him, decapitating someone.
Yep.
So that's an establishing character moment. So Brevin is, by and large, the best character of the game, which I guess
he's
is why
the person with the only good voice actor.
Yes, he has great lines. I love his lines. One of my favorite lines in the entire game was the part where you're forgetting one thing. My men don't need oxygen. It's so good. The delivery of that line is so amazing. It's so
and then
good.
There's just random pockets of oxygen. If you turn the oxygen pumps off in a big space like that, the oxygen would take a long time to finally filter out of the room.
Exactly, but still, that's just a good line.
It's a great line. And I mean, it's a good gameplay mechanic too, I guess. It just...
Yeah.
By that point, I was already
that's
disinterested.
That's something that Freedom Planet could have done more with, was in-stage dialogue. It would have lessened the huge length of the, cutscenes. You could have, had them, talking about some things they were thinking about, and it wouldn't be super out of the way, but it would have been nice.
I think they probably could have played around with the alien stages and the spaceship premises more just in general. It would help set it apart from Sonic, I think.
Yeah, but it still ended up being a lot like Sonic. Another real good part of the game was the shoot 'em up segment, which, I mean, it's fun for the fact that it's not Freedom Planet.
Yeah. It's a really backhanded compliment, though. The best part of your game is when you're not playing the game.
The best part of this game is when it becomes Kirby.
The best part of Kirby is when it becomes Star Fox.
You take that back.
Yeah, no, that was that was supposed to be an insult towards Star Fox, but I worded it wrong.
Yeah, when Kirby does Star Fox better than Star Fox.
Yeah, for the record, everybody, I am the most bitter asshole about Star Fox Zero ever. And that's going to be the very first thing I do when I get recording software for console games, is just scream at Star Fox Zero for 6 hours.
Oh, I need to watch that.
You better watch it.
I mean, I watch all the other videos. You still need to do Mother 3 at some point, like you said you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's something for the way future, because Mother 3 is a 30-hour game.
Yeah.
And
RPGs.
I'm pretty slow at RPGs in the first place.
Yeah. Could make it a sort of challenge run where you don't grind and just go through the game as somewhat fast as possible.
No, I think if anything, I would, I think there's a couple methods that you can get, game-breakingly strong really fast. I would probably do a, cheap run like that, just to be able to get through it faster, do something a little different from my first playthrough.
Grind Salsa, he's the best endgame character of them all.
Salsa in the endgame? It has been so long since I played.
No, he's not in the endgame at all.
Okay. That's what I thought. Fuck you.
This game has a lot of weird characters that you can play as, but you only play as them for like one chapter.
I don't know.
It's kind of... I'm not a huge fan of that, but
I
digress.
I like it. I think they get the best of both worlds, because the entire second half of the game, you have your one singular party, and it helps build the world and get you more invested. But
Fair enough.
I guess that's an episode for another time. I guess
But back to Freedom Planet. Ugh.
I got a little list here of things I wanted to talk about. The only other thing I think we haven't gone through yet is the slow-mo in it. Again, I don't know how much you noticed it, like, playing it, because it comes in at opportune times, but it took me a while to realize that it was, like, doing deliberate slow motion every so often. I thought it would just slow down.
Yeah. Sometimes it's made to be somewhat cinematic, but...
You know, and sometimes it works, but, like... No, at the end of boss fights especially the one boss fight where, not Cream the Rabbit comes in and kills the boss for you. Like
no, it wasn't Cream, it was Carol.
Was... Oh.
Carol kills those bosses, both of them.
What? Whatever. They're all the same.
Either way, the party member steals my kill, the bitch.
Yeah. No, it looked like the game was freaking out then, because you were nowhere near the boss, obviously.
Exactly.
Like, it shouldn't be allowed to trigger the boss dying cutscene without you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really bad because the boss fights last as long as they do, and yet the other characters don't help until, like, the tail end of them. It's like, if you're gonna have them help out at all, just have them help out from the start.
Or just don't have him help out. You know, like every
Exactly.
other game on Earth. I don't think anyone
exactly.
is really going to be missing those extra couple hit points they're dealing.
Yeah. But the weird thing is, I don't think they're implemented poorly. Well, they're implemented poorly, but I think, like, the programming for them isn't terrible. But if you're gonna have it at all, then, you know, actually use it.
They're just so unnecessary. Like, I don't care how well they worked or how well they were programmed. Why are they there in the first place?
You're trying to make a cinematic experience for a 16-bit game. Or 32-bit, technically. It was probably only be able to be done with the 32X.
You know I have you know I have a lot of opinions when it comes to games marketing themselves as nostalgic and on old hardware.
Yeah, that's the only reason why you don't like Shovel Knight.
It is the only reason, but that's another rant for another time.
And you're gonna have to sit through and grumble while you edit 5 different playthroughs of Shovel Knight.
No, I'm thinking probably what I'm gonna do is the first time you make a joke about it, because I know you're gonna joke about it the entire goddamn Shovel Knight playthrough, is just pause the video and explain every problem I have with the game. Part 1 of Shovel Knight's gonna be 2 hours long.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But yeah, Freedom Planet, it tries to be cinematic while also trying to be a classic-styled game, but no.
I want to say that's inherently contradictory, but there were a lot of games like in the Genesis era that tried to be cinematic too. I think the big...
Yeah, but most of those were RPGs.
I think the real big difference is just like what counted as cinematic. Back then it was so hard to have anything in a video game that wasn't just basic gameplay that like one barely animated cutscene made it feel so much more like a movie than any other game on the market.
Yeah, and that's another, like, really annoying thing about the cutscenes is that they're trying to build all this lore and have all this story, and absolutely nothing happens. They just talk. It's long scenes for talking.
I'm trying to think of some of the jokes. You could probably put a supercut together of just all the times they awkwardly laugh at each other. It would be a good couple minutes.
He probably thinks we have cooties.
Alright, that's enough of that. Skip to the torture scene.
Yeah, I spiked the audio bad there.
Yeah, well, hey, you have to listen to me do that a lot of the times in the playthrough.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's bearable then because I'm I'm on my 10th cup of coffee.
Yeah, speaking of my actual playthrough of the game, I am, like, looking back on it, surprised I did as well as I did. Because I remember the first time I played through that game, it was painful.
You know,
So, I mean, I guess I have improved. I played the game like 3 fucking times.
I mean, you're not gonna get it done on Games Done Quick anytime soon, but
No,
yeah, compared
no.
to a lot of footage of like just like first time players, you nailed it almost all of the time, except for those 2 or 3 times you got lost.
Yeah.
But I mean,
And-
even then, like, if you get lost in a game like Freedom Planet, I'm more inclined to blame the game for bad level design than I am the player.
That's the thing. Freedom Planet has a lot of, like, huge levels that have, like, different sprawling places, but in general, it's a completely linear game. Like, you can't go down, like, different paths to get through different areas. You specifically have to go down this one path, and all these extra side things are just long cuts. They're not even shortcuts. They just, at best, like other times, just a distraction, a waste of time.
And I feel like that's another one of the parts where it is on a very fundamental level, not a classic Sonic game. Because,
Right.
I mean, for the Genesis, it was pretty exploratory. Of course, me, who can barely play the game, ended up taking the same path every time anyway, just because that's all I could do. But when you got better at a Sonic game, you could find more in a Sonic game.
Exactly.
I feel like even...
there are so many things that even nowadays, I go back to a classic Sonic game and I find new shit. Recent playthrough of Sonic 1, I found that at the very beginning of Starlight Zone. There's like 3 or 4 like item boxes. You just gotta roll against the wall and there they are. I never knew they were there until recently.
Yeah, but no matter how many times you come back or how good you get at Freedom Planet, you're never going to find another path and more secrets.
You're just gonna be able to know all of its dastardly tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently, a friend of mine who is doing his own like run of the game recently finished it. His stages took at least 20 minutes, and Battle Glacier, which is the worst level in the entire game, took him like over 30. That's half an hour in one goddamn stage. And deserved, because that's the worst stage in the game. That's where I think I had my most deaths.
I guess just a little bit more damnation by faint praise. Maybe it was just because you knew what you were doing. Freedom Planet was at the very least free of beginner traps. Like, a lot of things were annoying, but I feel like it never really threw anything at you that, like, you were bound to die on if you didn't know what was coming up. The boss fights.
Yeah, the boss fights.
Excluding the boss fights.
Yeah. The stages aren't... they're passable in terms of, like, traps and other stuff. Like, they're not absolutely terrible. They're not something like a fan hack or a fan game where if you've played this sort of game series, then you're automatically assumed to be an expert, and we're going to have a bunch of shit that hardcore players of those games should be able to know how to do easily. And I just it doesn't do that sort of stuff, but the levels are super long anyway, so it gets a point, and then that point is taken right off.
So I think the stage design is probably about the best you could expect for a first-time game studio. But like the quality of it should have got people saying like, "Oh, okay, there's some ideas here. I hope they get better." It was not worthy of the rave reviews it got.
Yeah, especially with the momentum problems.
Yeah,
like it's as bad as Sonic 4 Episode 1. It's terrible.
Yeah, you thought that joke was a lot funnier than I did. That's why I only edited it in once.
Yeah. So, I guess there's not really much left to say. We've already gone into detail on a lot of the issues that Freedom Planet has, and that there's not really much else we can add, like, other than some, like, sort of nitpicks of, like, personal gripes with the game, but...
I mean, we already kind of went through that, too.
Yeah, and I already went through it a lot in my own playthrough.
I mean,
Because, like, that's basically what I was getting angry about. It was just, oh, this sucks, oh, this sucks, oh, this sucks.
I'll just...
I guess one last thing is the shields and health, which I go over quite often in the early part of the playthrough.
It takes just over a second for them to actually activate. What is the point of that?
Yeah. And it's really dumb because, as you can see, whenever I pick up the crystal counter goes down the moment you grab them. But the health and the shield and the invincibility, it takes an entire second. And I don't know why. It didn't, like, affect me too much in this playthrough, but the first playthrough, I got hit so many times in that 1 second wait. I even died at least once during that 1 second wait.
There's not even an animation or a jingle to signify that like something is happening and is coming up, so you would expect it to be effective immediately.
Exactly. So. But yeah.
I guess I'm happy with this if you are. More than anything,
yeah.
Of course, this is our first attempt at this podcast style thing. I just want to see, if it works, if it comes out all right, how people feel about it.
Right. I guess for the end bit of this, wanna go over like the first couple episodes of Sonic Adventure, at least like the early bit of it, to like go into like how we feel this is going to be going, how this is gonna end up being.
Sure. I mean, I'm definitely more excited about it than I am about the Freedom Planet playthrough, just because I think you're definitely having more fun with it. It's a game you know more intimately. And even when it messes up, it's enjoyable seeing some of those early Dreamcast glitches.
Oh, man. I'm not sure if it's just the Dreamcast glitches. There are points where I'm, honest to God, thinking that the emulator is screwing with me.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Because, yeah, like, there is a lot of times when I get just knocked back by something or other, like, just fly across a part of the room, and sometimes that can lead to unfortunate deaths. But,
it was in that snowboarding section. Didn't you get, like, stuck on a corner of the environment? And then the avalanche.
Oh, no, that's in the regular games.
Oh,
yeah, that's in the regular games. But what I'm saying is like what happened in Twinkle Park when I was like rammed by one of the other carts and I flew across the room.
I forgot to put death counter on it.
Yeah, you did. That wasn't the actual death. It was when I ran into a monkey.
Yeah,
the running into monkeys is inconsistent. No matter what version of the game you'll play, you'll run into them sometimes and you'll destroy them with no problem. Then sometimes you run into them and you lose all your rings or die.
I don't know. Twinkle Park is a level I have some just conceptual problems with. Like where?
But you didn't get to see much of it because I speed ran the game.
Oh no, that was awesome. I'm mostly thinking just like, first of all, how is that a functioning amusement park? There's nothing amusement parkish about it. And where the hell did they hide it? Because, like, you went into, like, a marquee the size of maybe a movie theater at most.
And then they suddenly had the
there's, like, an entire
of space.
town. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's one of my favorite levels just design-wise because I love how it looks, but then again, you're asking this question when there are actual highways that have loop-de-loops in the series.
Yeah, but, like, highways at least exist, like, normally.
Well, are you saying that theme parks don't exist?
Well, I don't know. Twinkle Park just rubs me a wrong way, the way other Sonic levels don't. I know I'm trying to analyze a series about a blue 4-foot hedgehog who can run at Mach 3, but...
Yeah. I'm looking back at episode 2, for some reason I decided to show off all of Casino Park, or Casinopolis, and then just blaze through Ice Cap and Twinkle Park. It's like, well, I started off with being all informative, like, oh, there's this, there's this, there's this, and then for the rest of the episode, I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna speed through.
I actually didn't even know the sewer existed in Casinopolis.
Seriously?
Well, yeah, because I've never lost a pinball table with under 100 rings.
Oh. Oh, it's a lot faster to go into the sewers. Like,
Well, yeah, I can
if you
tell.
take,
You didn't even grab all the rings, and yeah, you got 221 rings in that section, according to my notes.
to be fair, I had like 80 or something before I fell in from the pinball table alone.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you got 221 down there, not you left with 221.
Yeah.
You got 221.
Oh. Yeah, I got a lot. And that's from going the nowhere but straight. The sewer is a great part of the game. So you missed out on that entire section of the stage.
Yeah.
You missed out on a really good track. I love that song.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not too terribly heartbroken about it, because again, my first Sonic game was Sonic 3D Blast, and then I jumped to Sonic Heroes. I didn't get around to playing Sonic Adventure until after I'd played pretty much every other game in the series, up until Sonic and the Secret Rings, I think. So, like, I can imagine Sonic Adventure being the best thing on Earth if I had a chance to play it as a kid, but...
Yeah, Sonic Adventure. I know that game like the back of my hand. It's one of the games where I probably could speedrun if I really wanted to, if I put my heart and soul into it. But goddamn, it's a long game.
I think I even played Sonic Adventure 2 before I played Sonic Adventure 1. And for
I
some
think I did the same thing.
for some reason...
Because the GameCube... well, you go on first.
Sonic Adventure 2 was one of the first ones I got with my Dreamcast.
You have a Dreamcast?
I have like 4 Dreamcasts. Dreamcasts break so often.
Do you have a spare working one? I want one.
I have a spare working one, but I'm not giving it away because what happens when mine breaks?
I give it back.
Yeah, no,
No, you can have it.
trust me, Proto. It's honestly not worth it getting a Dreamcast. They are the worst console ever.
Fine, but when I go over to your place, we're playing Sonic Shuffle.
Fine.
That's going to be a mess. But,
I don't know yet.
yeah, Sonic Adventure is going to be a really fun playthrough for everyone. Not only just for the fact that I can blaze through levels faster than Game Grumps. I'm sorry, that was a bad coughing fit I just had. But not only because I can blaze through it so fast, there are some crazy things that happen in the playthrough. You have no idea what sort of shit happens. It's great.
I wish I could comment more, but I'm only halfway through watching part 3.
You're in for a treat. You're gonna love editing some of these things. Big Story is going to be it's going to be a hoot.
Yeah, no, you already told me you went through Big's story fast. And I am
Yeah,
excited to
it
see
was
that
in one
because...
part.
God, I remember Big being the slowest, most annoying, take forever part of the game. I think that's how most people remember it.
And I'd do it in one part, like barely even breaking a sweat.
Yeah, because you're some kind of freak.
Yeah, I'm a freak that plays the shit out of Sonic Adventure.
Right.
I know all the tricks of the trade.
I think we are heading on 50 minutes here, so we should probably try to wrap it up.
Yeah, we probably should.
I guess this is like twice as long as I was expecting us to go, but I think I like the longer format better. We probably
this definitely feels more fulfilling.
We probably shouldn't like keep ourselves to a single topic, but yeah, in the future, the idea for this is whenever we get done with a game, or whenever there's just a game that both of us like I want to do a couple episodes about Ace Attorney in this format, but
yeah,
like
that's going to be great.
Like Lord knows we
can
can't do an
already
Ace
see it.
Attorney playthrough.
Yeah, we can't do a playthrough. We could do reviews, or you could do reviews.
Yeah, no,
But just it's perfect podcast material.
Oh, it absolutely is. Especially because don't you and I already have, like, an entire network of theories and headcanons for it?
We basically say everything we can about Ace Attorney, to what sort of flavor of pies they would be, which that's my favorite conversation.
I still have
Purely,
I still have that list somewhere.
yeah, like, what was Phoenix again?
I don't remember.
The most I remember is that I think Apollo is, like, cherry, and Furio Tigre is pizza pie.
That was not that funny.
Ugh.
Alright.
Yeah. But yeah, this was fun. Felt very fulfilling. And, yeah, now Freedom Planet is completely over.
And you
Please,
never
no
have to
10,000
think about it.
subscribers. Please.
Don't say that, Proto. We need that many subscribers if we ever want to make money off this.
I do. I know. But Freedom Planet's a bad game.
Think of the fans, Proto. You don't want to let down the adoring public.
Okay. I'll do it for fans. For the money. I mean, the fans. I love you all. Money? What's that? No. I love you guys.
Yeah, all two of you, as of this recording.
Oh, no, we've got like 5 subscribers. I think. 4 or 5. Either way.
I'm not one of them. I don't subscribe to shit. Anyway,
I'm one of them just so I can make sure that it actually uploads. Because it's easier to check on my actual browser.
fair enough. Wait, I don't have an outro because I'm still not organized with any of this shit, so sign us out, Proto.
Alright, well, this has been Proto and Goat,
Oh shit.
and I'll see you guys next time.
We need a series name for this.